This is Stephanie from the CAD Academy, and I am happy to announce our National Architectural Contest for this year. And I'm hoping you're in. Are you in? It is open to all CAD Academy schools who use ArchiCAD. We're going to start right after the winter break. We're either going to do a LEED Dream Home or a passive solar home, and both of those save on energy, save on the environment. We have great sponsors that are going to allow us to give to all winners either laptops or notebooks like we did last year. So it's well worth it to go through the time and trouble to do a project and enter it. Some of the things that are of issue in our world today is, of course, the fossil fuels. We're running out of fossil fuels, and it's a non-renewable resource, even though it can be renewed every few million or hundreds of thousands of years if you can wait that long. The Native Americans called it flaming liquid because of its highly combustible properties. But you can see we have a moderate amount in the U.S., but in the dark color is where the big reserves are. And because of our economy, because of the vehicles we have, the manufacturing, we're very dependent on oil, and we don't make enough in our United States, so we have to go to other places. So by learning about green and sustainable design and making a house that way, we can actually help turn that tide around. As you recall, that Beijing had a recent Olympics, and they had to actually shut down all their factories for a couple of weeks before the Olympics to clear out the air. These poor people, without regulations, have to deal with a lot of pollution on a daily basis, and the results of pollution really devastate our environment. If you look at the little chart, you can see in red where the high polluters are. It's hard to believe, but even buildings pollute. So, for instance, the largest part of this pie chart is buildings, and it's because of the pollution that comes from heating and cooling a building. This is before we were polluting the environment, and you might say these buildings are totally off-grid, but people have always had a need for shelter. It's one of the basic needs. If you ever go out camping and you're in bad weather, you know how important it is, because we can only survive, or our favorite temperatures to survive in is between 70 and 80 degrees, and with a certain amount of relative humidity. And if it's any different than that, then we need shelter. And that's one of the big reasons for having houses and building them. I thought it was interesting that a hogan and an igloo are shaped the same way, and they're almost at the opposite ends of the world. But the hogan was built to help the natives, the Navajos, withstand the heat. And if you get your body temperature up to 105.1, you can die of heat stroke. And they use the same building type, only used a different building material by the native Alaskans, and they put a little fire in it. They put their bed high up in it, and they basically keep warm. But if your body temperature gets down to 55.4 degrees, you freeze to death. But humans are so adaptable, and that's why, and I think that we still are. I'll never forget the blizzard of 1982 in Denver. I happened to live there, and everything came together for this blizzard. And I happened to be driving when the blizzard hit, and it was amazing to me. You couldn't even see in front of your vehicle. I was lucky enough to get home, and then the next morning you could not. I had to dig it out. I didn't even know where it was, except for I knew where the driveway was, so that helped. But it was shocking to me at how quickly we can become victims of technology. So the less you have to depend on technology, the better off you are. People that didn't have a fireplace died of the cold. We ran out of food in the grocery stores, and people were grabbing for things, and it didn't take but just a couple of days for it to get like that. One of the fun things about one of the famous architectural schools is the Frank Lloyd Wright School of Architecture, and they send their students out into the desert, and they have to build a shelter that they need to stay in. And I think it's interesting that if you were in the desert, you definitely need a shelter, but they're quite different from an igloo or a hut, but it's amazing how wonderful their designs are and how beautiful they are. So you don't have to build something big to have it be nice. Also, it'd be nice if you can think outside of the box. I like the Sydney Opera House above, And its history is amazing. The architect designed it to look like a ship. And then when they came to build it, they couldn't build the big sails on it because there wasn't a material that would do it under the load. And so they kicked the architect off the project, and finally they were able to do the material, and they got the architect back, so it all blends in. But what a monument. That's how you know that Sydney Harper, is because you see that building. I also like the Guggenheim Museum. It's done by Frank Lloyd Wright, and how unique he had to think about this and say what would be really nice on a museum, and he developed one where you could take an elevator to the top and then walk leisurely down and look at the art. It's a museum of modern art. This is my house, and it's not a great house, but I did build it out of an energy, environmentally friendly material, and it was a big thing for me to do that over 15 years ago. It is built out of rastra. The walls are in some places 12 inches thick, and in the heat of Arizona, it has saved money, so so I don't pollute as much, and it's very quiet, so there's no reason. I mean, I definitely would do it again. We did find in Arizona, though, that the rastra is made out of concrete, rebar, and styrofoam, and when the sun hits it, it heats up like a rock, so we put balconies over it, and love the balconies as well. So how are you going to get a great idea to make or build a building this year? Some things that you could start doing is thinking about it. And I think when I think about doing something, I just obsess about it. I think about it all the time. And then you get inspiration from things that you wouldn't normally think of. Also start with a bubble drawing. And a bubble drawing, you say, I want this room here, that room there, and there's an example of a bubble drawing there. But just start. Another thing is increase your knowledge. Visit an architect or talk to your instructor. And you might want to get a little think tank group together and think about what would be nice, but you can't be doing the project as a group, but you can get ideas together as a group. And you can also research on the net. And what do you personally like? Have a building, like I love my Santa Barbara house here in the middle of Phoenix. It's really different. so that's my personal preference. I love it. I went to a school of architecture at a university, and the head architect quoted someone else by saying, architecture's not the walls, but the voids within. So that man is standing in the middle of nowhere. You can see how much different it is when you have a plan the inside of the house. So the inside is as important as the outside. These are our national winners from last year, and what a wonderful group and what a great turnout. And we had people from California to Florida that entered our contest. The winner is in the upper right hand corner, has a lot of things like fireplaces and things that help bring that house to number one. I was not a judge. I'm not allowed to be a judge. It was people, LEED certified people, and people that are in software and in architecture. Our second place winner was this home. It had tilting solar panels, so it could collect the ultimate light. It had a green roof, as you can see, and she also, it's Amy Tang, and she also used laptops for the home entertainment system, so they had a dual purpose. This one has a wind farm, and it has solar panels as well, and it's very well built with a lot of different features on the interior. This is the third place winner. Notice she's holding her laptop. This is a tie. I think this was a tie for second, and this is a third place winner. And I love this house. I'd love to live here. It's rounded so that it doesn't get the hurricane winds. It has a desaline, I can't say it, a desalting personal desalting plant in there so that they can change the salt water into drinking water, and it has a wind farm as well and solar panels, all kinds of things. But I can just see myself going out in the ocean there. And this is our third, actually those are tied for second. This is our third place winner, and he's out of Arizona, totally off-grid, put his solar array separate from the house so it can be maintained easily. In Arizona, we just burn through the solar panels easily. So I guess the point of all this is to try to help inspire you, and get you to start thinking about it, because we are hoping that you'll enter our contest this year. And when we get ready to announce it, we'll also help with educating on what you need to do. So I hope you're in. Thanks for listening.